Hello, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Today, another special episode of Car Chat. And here with my friend Carlos. How you doing, Carlos?
Pretty good, pretty good. How are you?
Doing well. I think this was a necessary car chat that we have to put urgently because there's some news on Formula One this week. Some of the stuff that we talked about in the video last time.
That's right, we did.
A lot has happened this week on Formula One, from the rejection of Andretti as the 11th team coming into the paddock. But yeah, I know I don't agree with that. That's a stuff for a separate video.
Yeah.
But very much importantly is the decision by Lewis Hamilton to join Ferrari. And if you see us right now, I think you can gather how we feel about this. We don't necessarily agree whether that was a good or bad move. So I'm gonna hear from Carlos first on what his take, and I'm gonna give you my take on whether we think that that was a good idea. Carlos, what do you think about that move?
Well, first, I gotta go back and think, some of the things he actually said and the reasons why he wanted to move, he needed a change. And sometimes when people get a change in their life, they can actually do a reset and maybe do better in another team. But I have to say, in the last 10, 15 years, what Ferrari has done after the era of Schumacher, they have had Alonso, Kimi, and Vettel, and they have not been able to provide any championships whatsoever with very high caliber guys.
So what your
What
point is that he would have had a better chance at Mercedes to get another championship?
I think so. I think so. There's still some things that are not gelling yet at Ferrari, and I don't want to take away anything from Carlos and um,
Charles.
Leclerc, but both are good drivers and both have made a lot of mistakes and both are growing whatnot. But the team itself has not lent itself to be on a competitive level for championship wins.
I hear you.
Be at that level.
I,
And
I I get that. I get that. Now, if you were back to being a kid and somebody tells you one day you're gonna drive for a Formula One team, what color uniform would
red,
you dream about wearing?
red was and always been, of course. I get that part, the fantasy of every F1 driver.
Come on, man.
It's heritage, it's tradition, is the romance and bromance that you get when you join Ferrari and the support of the tifosis and everybody. But the tifosis and everybody are also antsy and anxious to get back to the winning form.
Yeah.
We're back again in the Schumacher days, to be honest with you.
I think that Tifosi is happy. They're gonna get, the best of all time, the GOAT. I think it was a good move. My take is a good move for him, good move for Formula One. Everyone's talking about it. Great move for Ferrari. This is for from 2025 onwards, so it's the new era. And Carlos, come on. If you're Lewis Hamilton, you want to win. So that is where this is gonna get interesting. He knows something about that Mercedes car in 2024. And he might know something about the development of the Ferrari engine for 2026 that, along with the dream of driving for Ferrari, he must have said, he must have data that you and I don't have. And that's something that will be very clear in the first couple of races this year, don't you think?
No, I don't.
No.
I
Okay.
don't. I think what is going to play a role is the impending move on 2025 as well of the technical director that is leaving Mercedes and going to Ferrari.
No,
Tied with that move,
that's a good move.
Lewis will be comfortable because he's very comfortable with that guy.
Yes.
And quite frankly, Lewis and him have been on the same page regarding the design of the current car. And the current car that they have right now with a long wheelbase does not suit the rules and the aero requirements that they have put in place. And that's,
Right.
I believe that if they have the same package going this year, Hamilton says we ain't gonna get much better than what we have been the last two seasons. Maybe
Well,
a tweak here and there,
we're
but
gonna come back to a car chat maybe after a couple of races and see how AMG and Mercedes perform. Because if the car is slower than the McLarens, slower than even the Ferraris and the Red Bulls, maybe he knew something. Because he's been there in the development of the car, and he might have said, you know what? it's time for me to go. And by the way, he's driving for them this year, which will be that will be awkward at times. You know how it is. It's a lame duck situation. But I don't know, man. I think he knows something. We'll see.
If the car performs like he's expecting to, it will be a long season for him and
Yes,
will be very, very reaffirming that he took the right decision without knowing
right.
exactly what will happen in the other side. You
No,
know,
I'm with
a lot of
you.
people always say grass is greener on the other side. You know what happens, right?
I know. I take that, right? But he's in the sunset of his career.
It is.
Let's say he's got 2, 3 more years, right? Um, I mean, driving for, Ferrari dressed in red. I think that's everyone's dream. I think he's gonna help the team. The other thing, Carlos, is cash is king. So how much is he gonna be making? You
Well,
know, the
the
best of all time was making less than Max Verstappen. That's not gonna happen anymore. People say it's gonna look more like 100 million a year.
yeah.
Mm,
If that's the case, I mean, what driver is worth $100 million a year?
the best of all time. I mean, simple as that. You know, I think. Listen, what was the market value of Ferrari before this announcement and after this announcement? Do you see the news on that?
The delta was $7 billion in.
$7 billion just by hiring the best driver, Formula One driver of all time. It's good for Ferrari. It's good for the Tifosi. It's good for Formula One. Okay. Everyone's talking about this. Okay. By the way, poor Andretti, because that was the news. And everyone, I mean, I was not happy with that. We'll discuss that. But suddenly the narrative completely changed in 24 hours. Everyone will be talking about this in every race during this year. And it's a farewell tour for Lewis in Mercedes. I hope it's a great farewell tour. Now, the big question is, Carlos, who's gonna replace him at Mercedes? I wanna I want you to give me your best estimate.
I want to go there, but let's go back a little bit before we hit that sore point. What's Leclerc's position now at Ferrari?
Oh, it's number
They
one.
they claim equal treatment. Is he going to be treated as a number one driver? Are
He
they going to
will.
be treated as equal? Or are they going to say, "Hey, uh,
He,
Hamilton's just arrived.
oh, I
Learn
think
from
he
him."
will. He will, and Lewis is gonna be a mentor, and but Leclerc is the long-term solution there, and they you know secure him under contract for a number of years now, like McLaren did with Lando. They knew what they were doing because I think Mercedes was gonna go after him, and I think Red Bull was gonna go after him, and he's the franchise driver. Lewis is gonna be there, and then he'll retire from there. He knows that. Everyone knows that. He's gonna be a mentor. Okay, it's like having Fernando next to you. Same, right? Now he's gonna try to win, and that will make Charles Leclerc even more competitive. It's a win-win, man. Come on,
You say it's a win-win
Forza Ferrari, Forza.
when those calls come on the radio. Do you think we should go plan F, G, H, I, J, K?
You go
Which one,
backwards.
Hamilton? Hamilton will say, "Stop inventing." I remember
Stop,
one driver would used to say that.
stop
Stop
inventing.
inventing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, hey, no secret. They need to change their engineering department. They need to change their strategies. I mean, they
The least
have a lot
strategies
of
is
work to
out the
do.
door. The least
They have a
strategies is
lot.
out.
Well, that's good news, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we agree. You know, they look like a bunch of clowns at times.
It
But
hurts. It hurts.
something is forming, something is happening, and he said, "I'd like to be part of that. I think I'm gonna get a chance there. Plus, I'm gonna drive for Ferrari, before I retire." Yeah, what was gonna happen next, right? George Russell was gonna become the franchise kid. Yeah, you wanted a role as an ambassador in AMG. I think he can still do that after this. I mean, he spent a lifetime there. It's not an issue. Was he getting the respect? he deserved? I don't know. Maybe he saw them flirting with other drivers, and said, I'm out of here before they let me go.
You know.
Many things play out.
So who's gonna come in?
Who's
What
gonna come in?
drivers will be in the open market?
Who would
Dri-
you hire? If you were Toto Wolff, who would you hire to replace him in 2025?
2020.
Uh-huh. Good
Well,
question.
let me ask you, how long it was Fernando's contract?
Ooh. I love watching Fernando in green and Aston
I know,
Martin. I
I
I don't
know.
know.
There's a rumor out there too that what if there's a complete Spaniard lineup at Aston Martin
It could happen.
that Sainz and Fernando join forces at Aston Martin for 25, and that will kick it up another level. That would be interesting in itself.
That would be very interesting. But my question is, if you're Toto Wolff, who are you pursuing? Albon? Are you pursuing Carlos Sainz? Are you giving a chance to Mick Schumacher? Are you pursuing another, you know, veteran to be there for 1, 2 years until you make a further decision down the road? That could be a way to go, right? And pursuing Fernando.
Yeah.
What would you do if you were him?
To be honest with you, at this point, probably give the benefit to a younger person to
Mm,
start growing in the team. Toto's contract is through 26. And
right.
after that, will he have the energy to go on and continue another 3 years, 2 years after that? Who knows? It all depends on the new car and how
Yes.
things turn out because he doesn't like losing whatsoever. No one does, but
No.
he particularly is not fond of it.
Well,
So,
if
will he
if it
bring a
was me,
phenom bag from the other series?
they have some great
Young talent.
it's coming, in Formula 2, but I would pursue Carlos Sainz. But if I were Carlos Sainz, I wouldn't go to Mercedes. I think this is going to be the chance for Carlos to be the number one driver in a team, and that's Audi. Sauber.
You think it's gonna go there?
I think so. And that's his chance to be the franchise driver, the number one driver, not the number two to somebody else. You know, I think that will be it. Unless he goes to Aston Martin, and then he could be the one driver against Fernando, and then Fernando retires. That could be, and then he remains as the number one driver. So that's another option. If I was Carlos, I would go with Audi, the franchise guy, full. I mean, I will be the face of the new team and with full support, probably a juicy contract. Yeah, that's interesting to
Is this
watch.
the Spanish guy with the nice hair?
The Spanish guy with the nice hair. Yeah, I
You
heard
know,
that before. So anyway, interesting moves. I know you disagree with Lewis. I think it's great for Formula One. We're talking about it. We're debating about it. I was in Cars and Coffee this morning. There was banter back and forth. The Ferrari people are happy. Some are not. The AMG people are worried. This is all happening and it's creating a lot of buzz.
it does
And
create a lot of buzz. It created a surge in the freaking company's
yes,
market cap, which is ridiculous. To be honest with
yes,
you, it's such a big news and notice.
it's awesome.
If things go well, he would go like, you know what? It would definitely look like, well, of course, it was the right choice. Look, he turned out great. But my suspicion here is that, uh, man, I have seen how drivers leave that team in total deep disappointment because what they wanted to do at that place was not possible. The
I
car
know.
was not there to deliver it.
I know.
I would hate to see a great world champion live in deep disappointment on what a dream time would have been at Ferrari. And I'm afraid that would be the story that ends up, and I surely hope it's wrong. Because if someone deserves to have a pretty stellar year with such a great team like that, would be someone like him.
I'm with you. All right. On that, we agree, Carlos. But anyway, that's the debate.
Yep.
Comment below. Was it a good idea? Was it a bad idea? Is it good for the sport? We want to know your opinions. Make sure that you subscribe to and you follow us on social media. We'll be here for the debate. We're going to watch the first couple of races. when they happen, and then probably we'll come back and reconvene and talk about this topic. So stay tuned. A lot more content on Formula One. Carlos, always great to have you. Yeah.
Thank you. Same.
Love AMG, I have to say. I don't have a Ferrari, but I thought it was cool. So anyway, thank you.
You're welcome.
Happy to have you again, and see you around. Take care,
See you
my
around,
friend.
buddy. Bye.
Bye.